There are moments in history when the ground seems still, yet something deep beneath it is moving, pressing, cracking, preparing to rise. Iran today is such a place. A nation rich in poetry and oil, in ancient empires and modern contradictions, now stands at a crossroads where whispers have become chants, and chants have become thunder. As the philosopher Hannah Arendt once warned, the most radical revolutionary will become a conservative the day after the revolution. But what happens when a people feel the revolution never truly ended? This is not just a story about politics. It is a story about bread and dignity, about wallets that grow lighter and voices that grow louder. This is Iran erupting. And this is what the people are saying. To understand the protests shaking Iran's streets in 2026, you must first understand the quiet violence of the empty pockets of the Iranian people. For years, ordinary Iranians have lived under the weight of a collapsing economy. It was a kind of economic pressure cooker. Inflation has eaten away at salaries like rust on iron. Prices of basic goods such as bread, rice, and cooking oil have all doubled, sometimes tripled. The national currency, the rial, has plunged in value, turning savings into shadows. A shopkeeper in Isfahan once said, "My money ages faster than my children." It was not a joke. It was grief disguised as humor. Unemployment, especially among the youth, is a slow-burning fuse. Iran is a young country demographically, but its young people often feel locked out of the future. University degrees do not guarantee jobs. Hard work does not guarantee stability. And hope. Hope has become the most expensive commodity of all. Added to this is widespread corruption, economic mismanagement, and a system where vast resources are controlled by state-linked entities and religious foundations. The result? A feeling among ordinary citizens that the economy no longer serves them, but rules them. As it is said, poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. In Iran, poverty has not only bred anger, but it has also bred clarity. But Iran's economic crisis does not exist in a vacuum. It is tightly bound to decades of confrontation with the United States and other Western nations. The most punishing chapter began with concerns over Iran's nuclear program. Western governments, particularly the US, have been at war with Iran on the grounds that it was pursuing nuclear weapons under the guise of civilian energy development, something Tehran has long denied. The response was a sweeping regime of economic sanctions aimed at pressuring Iran's leadership to change course. These sanctions targeted Iran's oil exports, banking system, shipping, and access to global financial markets. Oil, once the lifeblood of the Iranian economy, became harder to sell. Money became harder to move. Investment dried up. When the US withdrew from the nuclear deal in 2018 and reimposed maximum pressure sanctions, the Iranian economy went into freefall. Inflation surged. Imports shrank. The middle class, once the backbone of social stability, began to collapse inward. Yet here lies the paradox. While sanctions were designed to pressure the regime, it was the people who felt the sharpest pain. This has fueled a powerful narrative inside Iran that citizens are trapped between external pressure and internal rigidity, like grain caught between millstones. As the Persian poet Sadi wrote centuries ago, human beings are members of a whole, in creation of one essence and soul. Many Iranians ask, if this is true, why does the world feel so distant from their suffering? And then something broke. Protests erupted, not in one city, but in many. Tehran, Mashhad, Shiraz, and Tabriz. Small towns, large avenues. The chants were raw, unfiltered, and historic. People were no longer just criticizing policies, they were questioning the system itself. Crowds began chanting slogans unheard in such volume before. Denunciations of the Islamic regime, anger directed at the ruling clerics, the mullahs, whom many blame for decades of repression and economic decay. These chants were not carefully worded manifestos. They were emotional eruptions, the kind that come when fear begins to lose its grip. What makes these protests different is not just their scale, but their tone. They feel less like demands for reform and more like a rejection of the status quo altogether. The air is thick with a sense of finality, as though many protesters believe there is nothing left to lose. For years, Iran has leaned on countries like Russia and China as strategic partners, counterweights to Western pressure. Moscow and Beijing have offered diplomatic cover, economic deals, and military cooperation. Yet today, Their response to Iran's unrest is noticeably restrained. Why the ambivalence? Because both Russia and China value stability above everything else. They support governments, not uprisings. Popular revolutions make them nervous, especially ones driven by economic frustration and demands for accountability. Sentiments that could echo uncomfortably within their own borders. There is also cold pragmatism at play. A weakened Iranian regime is a less reliable partner. A collapsing Iran is a regional wildcard. And a revolutionary Iran, that is an unknown equation no great power likes to solve. So they watch. They issue cautious statements. They hedge their bets. Even Iran's allies understand that when the ground shifts, alliances must tread carefully. Beyond Iran's borders, another chorus grows louder, the voices of Iranians in exile. Among them is Reza Pahlavi, son of the last Shah of Iran. Living in the United States, he has become a symbolic figure for some protesters who see him not necessarily as a monarch in waiting, but as a unifying alternative to clerical rule. Chants and messages calling for his return circulate online and in whispered conversations. For supporters, he represents a vision of a secular Iran, reconnecting with the world, reclaiming national pride without religious authoritarianism. For critics, he represents a past that cannot simply be restored, yet symbols matter in moments of upheaval. As Victor Hugo famously said, there is nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Whether Reza Pahlavi is that idea or merely a vessel for broader longing remains an open question. What is undeniable is this: exile has not silenced Iranians. From Los Angeles to London, from Paris to Toronto, the diaspora amplifies the cries of those at home, turning local protests into a global conversation. Iran today feels like a nation holding its breath. The regime still commands power. The security apparatus remains formidable, and history teaches us that revolutions are rarely neat, rarely kind, and never guaranteed. But history also teaches us this: once a people begin to imagine a different future, the present becomes unbearable. Iran's people are demanding that their garden bloom again. This story is still unfolding. Its ending has not yet been seen. But one thing is clear: the voices rising from Iran today are not echoes of the past. They are the sound of a people trying to reclaim tomorrow. If you found this documentary insightful, please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps keep these conversations alive. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep listening.